you doing a time lapse?
No, we're doing like a video. So
Let's go.
more wool.
Why say hey? More wool.
So we did some rock picking last night, and we're able to get the big rocks out of the middle field. I'm going to try to go over everything with our little green cultivator there to break up the dirt so that we can get some pasture in this weekend. It's going to be slow. We have a little tractor and a little cultivator, and well, the field's not huge, but it's slow going. So yeah, we'll see how this goes. So we had a pretty good time cultivating yesterday. I was able to get both fields cultivated. I almost ran out of daylight, which sucked, but I got it done. And so today we're going to try to plant some pasture for sheep. It's a good mix of different grasses that all mature at different points throughout the year. The idea being is that there's always grass available. So to get things planted, we've got a little Brilliant seeder hooked up to the little red tractor. And I've got the seed mix in here. As you can see, there's some grass seed, clover, all kinds of different good stuff. The way these things work is it really depends on having soft soil. So there's a roller here that puts depressions into the dirt. And then there's a little funnel under here that will drop the seed, and I've calibrated the machine to drop the seed at a very specific rate. And then this roller here kind of tucks it and pats it down. The idea with grass seed or pasture seed is that you don't want to seed it too deep. There's only so much energy in that seed to germinate and push up through the soil. So you want to have it really shallow. That's the idea. So it's a nice sunny day. It's Sunday. I'm gonna try to move the pigs outside. We tried this about a week ago and had a really rough time. I had set up a nice electrical fence. I did like 6 strands of pretty decent wire, a good setup, and they promptly escaped. I wasn't watching when they did it, so I'm gonna try again. They're in the barn right now, but I'm gonna try to move them out. I'm making some adjustments to this fence, and I might just grab a coffee and watch them for a little while to see where the escape points are, where the weak points are. So if you follow us on Instagram and you saw me putting this fence together for the pig pen, you'll have seen that I was able to do like a 6-wire electric and tie it in with the horse fence, which is also 6-wire electric. Our Energizer is about 10 joules, which is plenty of juice. But what I suspect one of the culprits might be is that we're not getting enough power into this fence. So we're just drawing way too much off of all of our fences. So I'm gonna disconnect it. This is what I've done here. So I've taken the main off. I'm gonna just tuck this away, and I'm gonna isolate this line of fence from the horse paddock, and I'm just gonna energize it on its own. My hope is that maybe a smaller Energizer that is not as heavily shared will be, you know, more powerful than just subdividing 0 on the main Energizer that we've got. So anyway, the idea is we're gonna try to get a bigger shock. Let's see if that helps, and then I'm gonna watch them this time. That was something that I didn't do before. I think keeping an eye on them and then trying to figure out where the weak points are is a good idea. So I'm gonna grab a coffee and just sort of sit out here for a little while after I get them moved in here, and hopefully we can figure out how they're escaping. Everybody's noticing the pigs, including the horses. Oh, jeez. Well, there's my afternoon. I think they lasted about 10 minutes tops. They're back in the barn now. I have to think this through and figure out a new approach. I'm not quite sure what I want to do. Well, I know what I want to do. I want to give up on it, but we're not going to do that. Just have to strategize here. It's something I may raise this group. Maybe they're just too old. I may raise this group the way that we did the last group, which is with a lot of in-barn stuff and not exclusively outside. I'm trying to figure it out, because at a certain point it's just too stressful on them if they're, you know, bursting through fences and getting chased around and, you know, running up against the horses and stuff. So I have to think what I want to do here. I think almost certainly for our next batch, I'm going to do like a, you know, not from birth, but from like weaning, they're going to be outside. And I may also, it's going to be kind of expensive, but I may also put another thing of like page wire along the bottom of the fence. We have some of that here. Try to show it to you. I've heard that like if you do this page wire barrier, and then if you have like an offset, you know, single line of electric or something, that'll work. I was also considering just putting some nets in front of it, although that seems like a really expensive undertaking because the nets here are pretty valuable for the sheep and chickens. And I just know, like I know that the pigs are just going to destroy my nets. So yeah, got to think this through. But I think definitely starting younger. So earlier this year, I picked up a soil test kit. It's something that I've realized that I really need to do. Usually what I would do is I would do a soil test and then send it into a local soil lab. That's pretty common. That's probably the most accurate way to do it. But in my case, I've got all these raised beds and I've got dirt sources from all over the place. So my compost, my fields, what topsoil I have here, and then I, of course, had some trucked in earlier this week. So I'm blending all of this together, and I've learned that I need to test my soil, and it just doesn't make sense to send it out like, 30 tests. I needed something kind of basic that I could do myself. So I picked up a DIY test kit from Lamont. So this is the kit that I picked up. It comes with lots of books on soil science basics. There is a lookup or guide on, your particular type of vegetable or fruit that you're growing. So it's got a nice chart here, so I can see that, okay, for my lettuce, I need to be between 6 and 7 on my pH. So I'm gonna just go through the guide here. I'm gonna test one of my beds using the kit here. It's like straight out of high school. There's quite a bit of stuff in here. So there's different agents, the solutions to trigger the test. There's little test tubes, all kinds of fun stuff. It reminds me of the stuff we used to get when we were kids, where you'd like make, all kinds of goo and just horrible stuff. So I've got this pH solution indicator. It says here 4 milliliters. Okay, I went out and collected some dirt. Just got it in this little jar here. So it says here on my guide that we need to do 3 measures of the soil sample at 0.5 Gs. So they've given me this tiny little spoon that is appears to be half a gram. I'm assuming that's what Gs is. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of that. Okay. Gently mix. Okay, so we will let that settle. And now it says we need to let it stand for about 10 minutes. So this is the test, the color we got back with the dirt that we brought in. As you can see, it's pretty neutral. We're pretty high on the pH. I blended in some compost and tried to change the composition a little bit. We got a little bit more acidic there, so it's a little bit more bluey gray. This is not an exact science when you're using color indicators, but I'm much happier with that. I'm going to try to do the other 3 tests here just so that I can establish a baseline for this dirt to get a sense of where we're at. I'm not taking any chances this year with the vegetables. I really want to make sure that we're getting a good start. So there's 3 key nutrients in dirt, as you probably already know. Nitrogen is probably one of the most important, but not to be forgotten, of course, is phosphorus and potassium. I've prepared a test here. It's a little bit more involved for the phosphorus test. I'm going to start with that. It involves letting the dirt settle for a bit and then taking it to a second tube with some reagent. I didn't do very well in chemistry in high school, so wish me luck here.